Welcome to jobTopia. I have been on a quest to understand what is the future of robotics. And the funny thing is, and I had a guest, a future guest, they sent me a book. A lot of people are writing on the subject, just what is robotics? And you do have to kind of program yourself to think a little differently because I think I had fallen in the trap of just thinking, robotics was going to be what I was going to see out of the Tesla shop, with the Optimus Prime, the humanoid robots. And that's true. That is clearly in the category of robotics. And we are going to see those. And those are coming in mass, actually. I think Elon's got a massive plan for deployment. I think the cost of those will drop. I think they'll be around less than a car price. I think I think he's hedging about $20,000 per Optimus. However, when we think robotics, we need to think a little more broadly. Isn't that true, David? It's not just these humanoids that are, walking around and making silly videos showing their you've seen them, right? Where the robots, they try to walk outside on the grass, they stumble, they fall, they do these silly things, right? They're just kind
Yeah.
of getting this publicity right now, right? There's a lot more to this robotics and these humanoid ones.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Those are like the what we call like the trial and error. Since it's like
Yeah.
these humanoids are, like kind of the brand new on the like robotic realms. But then there are like you said, varieties from most popular. The oldest are like the industrial robots, which they started historically speaking in the automotive industry, and then now we have like the collaborative one, and then now we have also like the humanoid, right? So let's say and then the four category, the rover or AMR,
Yeah.
which are like the little carts, around
Yeah.
like warehousing. So those are like like the, let's say, the four main categories that we are seeing, right?
Yeah, you do have to kind of expand your concept of what is robotics. The reason I wanted to bring you down today, I know we had talked quite a bit offline because in your business, you're a systems integrator and you spend a lot of time inside of all the same areas that I do. To be honest with you, I know you're inside of food and bev, and you're in other spaces as well, and
Right.
you're helping companies kind of go from maybe the old fashioned way, if you will, which was people. We're going to
Yes.
throw bodies, and kind of move in. And I thought you'd be the perfect person because uh, you've implemented, you've been an integrator for so many years now. So I wanted you to kind of help us understand, like, what is the current state of either manufacturing, warehousing? I've heard statistics, David, that it is painfully low, their adoption rate. That's just what I've seen, what I've read, and that's why it seems to be such a big marketplace right now for guys like you
Yeah.
in the integration space.
Yeah, you're right. Like this adoption. So with not get too much in the politics, but with the new policies, right? So there is a big, definitely push and to be more competitive to, of course, this reshoring activities that they're not just started like this year, but it's been like several years, especially in the semiconductors industry, which is like heavily like deployed, like here in Texas, for example. There are like main big like corporates. But so that's kind of the big push right out there to implement. But since like there is a trick here in the U.S. to where I call a trick, but it's like the wages are higher, of course, than our competitors, for example, in Asia, right?
Yeah.
So there is a need, actually, to the request is from the end user, actually, is like what they're asking us, like it's to fully automate, right? So fully automate, to at least match, the cycle time, of course, like to have like this, famous ROI, right? Return of investment. So those are like the basic question. There is a big push, but also like there is in some aspect, like a wait and see, right? So how much is gonna cost? How I can, repurpose what I already have, right, in my shop, and maybe, repurpose to this application that is more critical to me, right? Or maybe I have some recall, from my customers, and then I have to tackle this, and this application,
Yeah.
like I said, can be repurposed, or I'm gonna go like brand new. But going back also, like, to connect to the people, it's what I see. Yes, before it was people, now is machine and people. What people needs to learn is, to learn a new skill set, right? So to
Yeah.
repurpose
Upskill,
themselves, upskill to
repurpose. Hmm.
like, before you are just right now, let's say the current state is you are just an operator. Now you will become like, a robot operator slash technician, right? So whoever understands this, trend and changes that we are going through, it will be okay, because that's what is required.
You really do have to look ahead. You can't just walk into a plant, as an hourly worker and just think that nothing is going to change over the next 5 years. It's foolish. Now you mentioned something
Yes.
earlier, and I want to go back to it. You said this kind of wait and see, and I know it's easy for me to be cavalier and spend somebody else's money, but to me that seems like a overly cautious position to take when AI and automation seem to be coming at a rapid pace. You've got your not just Fortune 500, you can even move down into Fortune 1000 companies. They're investing in a very competitive market set.
Yes.
So I think if you're in, say, e-commerce and you have done food and beverage, so you're sort of related to that CPG space.
Yes.
If you're trying to compete with a Fortune 500 or a Fortune 5000 company and you're not automating in some way, I'm sorry, I think you've already lost. So in some
Yes.
cases, wait and see is a horrible idea. How do you recommend people when you see them struggling with this? Like, what do you say to them? How do you walk them over that, massive hurdle?
Well, I mean, it's like, for me, it's okay. Wait and see is mostly like, related to the policies. There are still, changes. Either with the tariff, with, different things that are going on. But I like it to what, like, the president of FANUC, like when we went to in February this year, we went to the our, like, system integrator event. He said, like, just remove the noise, focus on what you have to do, right, out there, and in particular, what you can improve to increase the production to your plant to be more effective. And that's where the focus is, identifying, the areas that are not really good for you, right? So talking about like the end user, and then focus on that, what we can improve. It doesn't need to be like, a massive project, like, it's, you can start small and then grow a little bit. That's what we suggest to, if you are new to automation. If you already have it, then, we tackle down, we most of the time, like, we collaborate with the end user, because a lot of time they have like internal really good skill sets that can be merged with what we do. So there are different ways, to tackle the problem. But you're
Uh-huh.
right, like, you have to jump on and do something. Don't get
That's
stuck in
that's what
there.
I think. Yeah,
Don't
that's what
stuck.
I
Don't get
think.
stuck in there, because no matter, there is always, of course, uh, everything has a cost, right? So,
Yeah.
but the cost is everything, including if you
Not
stay
doing
stuck in
anything.
there, not doing anything.
Right.
You're gonna end up paying more, in a year or two, because competitors are coming in like, like F-35s, and you're not gonna even see them. And then you end up like saying, hey, I made a big mistakes, I didn't upgrade my system, and then now I'm struggling really bad. You know.
Yeah, like, well, for example, in food and beverage, you work in food and beverage.
Yeah.
Are you working with co-packers?
Not really. Mostly like fresh food, bakeries.
Oh, okay.
That's where like some like cans and like beverage manufacturer. Yeah.
And
So
are you
those are like
using that Fanuc brand? Fanuc, for those who don't know, that's
the
one of the
well, yeah,
robotics.
yeah. It's like the leader, in the market of robotics. Fanuc, it's company from Japan, OEM. We use them. We use like Kuka and ABB. Those are the three brands that
Yeah,
are the top brands out there. Widely used in the automotive, of course, but also like in the packaging, and food and beverage, very popular brands.
yeah. Well, the reason I brought up co-pack was that co-packers are they're they fit into the food ecosystem for those small mid-sized companies that
Right.
they can't afford, a full run. So they kind of work with the co-packers, and they're a little bit smaller. But my point was that, you know, if their costs are rising because they're not automating, then what happens is they lose customers. And that was my point about if you do nothing, then what happens is you think everything's fine, but then that customer is already out talking to another vendor. They're getting
Yes.
calls from those other vendors, and they say, "Well, I've got 6 more months, 3 more months, and I'm not going to renew." And then I can move into
Right.
your system. It's quicker, it's more automated, and it just drives their price down. Okay, so
Yeah, that's
uh,
that's what it is. Yeah.
yeah,
At
I
the end
think
of
that's
the
kind of
day.
how that probably would flow.
Yeah.
How exposed are you into warehouse work?
Not too much, I would say. We have done it, some works, but we have done like some auxiliary works, like like scanner, barcode scanner systems, working on the conveyance systems. But
Hmm.
those are the extent. But we
Okay,
there
so
are
that's not really the area that you're focused. So which
no.
industries are you really focused in on?
Well, we focus on fabrication businesses, food and beverage, assembly, and then right now we also like automotive, mostly like accessories. We are dealing with in the automotive industry, not directly on building cars, but mostly
Right.
like accessory fenders,
You're down in the
holders, things
OEM
like that.
supply chain, like a tier
Yeah.
2, tier 3 supplier helping
Yeah.
them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want you to explain to the audience the level of change that you're seeing, and kind of explain, like, this is like the current state. Kind of walk us through what things look like, maybe speed or analysis or metrics. What's available really to businesses and to owners. And you just mentioned this conference you came back with Fanuc. Walk
Yeah.
us through what you think the future is going to look like in these same spaces.
Well, for whoever jumps on this, like solutions that we can provide to, of course, the future looks bright. But for other ones, not so much. If again, they are waiting and see. As far as like the solutions we have available, we have, of course, like the robots, PLC, and machine for OEM machinery, and then the big game changer that we are gonna see, and we already have some products out there. They are not like, I would say, refined yet. Uh, some of them, but the big AI machine learning, that will be literally the game changer out there, which will gonna be like basically a plug-in to the traditional cells, right? So work cells or control system, to be able like to to have more, deterministic, more dynamics decision,
Explain that.
right?
Explain. Uh, I think in these kind of scenarios, I think it's helpful for people if they can just kind of transport themselves into wherever you're
Right.
describing. So in this case, it might help to go granular, push down,
Yeah.
and explain.
Sure. So, I mean, it depends case by case, right? So we need to first analyze how the business is run. Like, for example, if a business ran like, lines of production of the same material, you really don't need like, AI. Let's be honest, So you may have like some plugins, like to collect some data, and they make better decision on mostly like on the numbers, the business side. But where it will be beneficial when you have variations, right? So you have a high
Yeah.
mix, low volume situation, right? So that's where like it really like is gonna be the game changer to be able like to basically the best way to explain is like you're gonna throw the different variables to this system, right? And then the system is able to adjust depending on what the inputs are, right? So for example, a practical example, and there are already like software available out there. It's like a palletizing, system. Like so, through of course vision system and algorithm, we are now able like to pick different size of boxes and accommodate on a pallet, right? So there are like a couple of companies that can do that out there right now. So that is like like basic example, but he will explain to you, okay, I have different size of boxes. It's really like my process is really custom. It goes with the customer orders, and they need to have like this 10 different SKUs, right? So which imply to me like different size of boxes. And then I have this palette, right, that is going to go to this customer with this 10 different SKUs. How I can handle that? So with utilizing AI and camera and like GPUs tied to a machine, which is this case is the robot. So the camera is gonna send coordinates depending, and he's gonna tell the robot where to pick, right, depending on the size of the different boxes. So that could be like one applications, like and but the example, are gonna be like on every application now we are to the point that this is like the one like beam picking, palletizing. Those are the more simplistic, let's say, because we have figured it out. As far as technology now, I just had a discussion today for developing like painting, pads based on that, and grinding. So working on these other fabrication related applications, and but we're gonna get there, uh, and uh, and that's kind of like the what the future looks like.
I
Uh,
don't think people. I mean, maybe they do understand this. I don't know how many people have been inside of a manufacturing setting, but the the way these are set up is they want the same product to go through the same machine as fast as possible.
as fast as possible.
I, and you just have to understand that. And every time
Yes,
you add a variable, that means you either have to have another machine, another process, or a stop,
or
a changeover,
changeover with adjusting the with the
adjust.
knobs. And actually, like you go to the food places are the perfect example, right? That you are describing. You have knobs, you adjust like depending on the size of the food or the trays, whatever it is, and then you are gonna go and do the changeover by changing the recipe,
Right.
on the screen, and that's fine. Like if, like I said, you can contain like the amount of variation that way, that's fine, and then you can go fast because food is all speed, like of how much material I can put it out there and I can sell it, every day. And it's really like we've been working for food manufacturer for years, and if the line goes down, it's everywhere, But food, I've seen like it's very critical, because it's the every, let's say, like uh, whatever they a loaf of bread, or whatever they produce, it's got a low cost, right? So then the more quantity they can put it out, the better it is. If the line goes down after 15 minutes, everybody's screaming at the plant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're adding costs. I mean, that's and I think that is what I think is so interesting about the future, the way AI is going to reimagine uh, production. And this is what I'm really excited. And I know you're on the front lines of seeing this. What I'm interested in is how are companies going to retrofit, because everyone is living and working and operating in, these old square boxes that have been built,
Right. Right.
and these all the equipment is installed, right? Some of them are very sophisticated. You can't just move them, right? It's a $100,000 exercise to move one piece to another area and to recalibrate, have to shut everything down. So
Yes.
I'm just curious, have you seen any designs, any kind of future designs for maybe changes that are coming to warehouse, not where you don't do warehousing, but just plants in general?
Well, going back, like to the food and the packaging, the machines, the mechanical portion are pretty much like validated and pretty strong, mechanically speaking. What we have done, for example, like talking about the renovation, and it's very popular, like the retrofit, upgrade to an updated like control system, right? So where you're going basically from a serial based system to like a network, system, so that what it will give you immediate result to where you can start pulling this data, you can have like better remote connectivity, you can start tweaking the system to get like you see like some stuff that are not working right away, or there you have this problem for years, you can try to tackle with the new controls, like sometimes, or add new devices. So it's really depend, case by case, but that's what we have done, so with food and beverage, for example, like upgrading the controls. As far as the machine I've seen out there, I like I said, yeah, they're pretty similar. Some now, they have like robotics on board, and they are getting more flexible. But yeah, if not, I didn't see yet like anything like, hey, wow, this is
Yeah.
beautiful
That's
new. It works better than this case packer, like that I've seen like for years.
yeah.
And
Well,
then yeah, yeah, good.
well, the reason I brought that up was that there's something called, what is it? Hold on, I've got it here. Not smart ecosystems. What is that? It's where they build everything around the worker.
They build everything around the worker.
Yeah, they bring all the materials to the worker. Gosh, why am I can't find it here. It's where you've got a single worker in a station, and the robots bring everything that worker needs to its station. It's a newly designed station or type of ergonomics. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's
Uh, well, I mean, there are like collaborative,
mhm.
stations. That's one of of the application that a worker can work close by to a robotic arm. And then there are like those like smart stations for assembly, mostly, that they
Maybe that's
illuminate
it.
it. They illuminate it, and then they tell the operator pick this, pick that, and then place in there. They have like also some videos. Those are mostly like, I think, are called like that, like smart station for assembly.
You're calling it a smart station. I found it. I think I was going after something that they call the automated work cells.
Well, automated work cells, it's what. we are talking about. Like you be
Okay.
like a packaging equipment, or a robot with jigs. Like it could be like both. That's where the term is falling on machine, like more
Uh-huh.
mechanical, OEM machine, or more robotics
I think it
machine.
was just described to me in a different context. And I was just thinking how you have, the old style of a production line where the
Hmm.
workers are stacked, you know, side by side by side, and the
Yeah.
equipment comes down the line and everyone works on it. And it just kind of came across to me in a different format, like workers were in pods and everything kind of came to them and then left. I don't know. For some
Well,
reason, they
that's a chain, like kind of that's popular in the automotive, to where the cars comes through the chassis, and then the workers are walking and assembly like the cars. That's very
yeah.
popular in the mostly like panel installations, like all the seats, that stuff. It's still like very manual. Like I've seen like robots put in the seats, but put in the panels, installing like the mirrors, all of that stuff. It's still like like that. You have a line with a carousel basically, and then you have side by side operator, installing the parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to get some more intel on that because the way it was described to me, it definitely sounded like a new style of assembly, um, not production line, but it was somehow a little bit different. I'm just curious. I was again just doing some research on what changes could be happening in the world of manufacturing, particularly around inventory. Have you seen or heard anything about this attempt to use blockchain within inventory to reduce? That's not something that you've
No,
dealt with.
I've never, yeah, I never came across of the blockchain inventory.
Yeah, that would be wild because blockchain is where every item in the blockchain would have its own unique identity,
Right.
and it's instantly traceable. And I would imagine that we're going to eventually see something like that where not just the way the warehouses are designed and organized for the robotic picking, but that they're actually assigned within the blockchain as well. So when an item comes out of the blockchain, it's tracked. We in that
Right.
way this like totally remove this. To me, I think this is like a next level for fraud and asset tracking. It
Yes.
sounded really, really powerful.
Similar, to where when I came across a customer, we did some R&D. They are like in the sport car business, and they were trying to put like actually a QR code that was traceable,
Yeah.
and then disable like actually the card from that, if they see like that was stolen the car, because some can get like really expensive, right? Those sport cards.
Oh yeah.
And then if they see like that was stolen, they can disable, right? So then when the thief is gonna try to sell it, you can't sell it anymore. So that's
It's a
something.
dead yeah, it's a dead
Yeah.
asset, or it's you'd have to strip it, and that's not yeah, that's a
But
big
we
issue.
we, we, we yeah, that one, that's where I was involved on this, like scanning and pulling the data, but we didn't get that far. The idea was, you know, building that, but we did some R&D on their, machine, where we were able like to scan like these cards, and we placed this special, QR code on the
Uh-huh.
card themselves. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's something else that I saw, and I don't know if this is one of the ways that you help a customer visualize the changes that could happen in their where okay, well, I keep wanting to say warehouse. This
Yeah.
idea of a digital twin or some kind of VR, something that enables them to kind of experience what it could be. Is that
Yes.
how prevalent is that in your world as an integrator?
We do definitely build like simulations. Now some software are already like ready for to use VR. Some are getting there, but definitely like this digital twin, especially in robotics, for us, like it's a great tool because it saves a lot of problems down the road. So where we are able like to put together like this work set right in the software and then run tests and see like the distances, like the dimensions,
Right.
problem that could be found like when you actually build. Instead you can catch up there, and then it's a great tool to show to the customer, hey, this is what we are thinking on the software paper. Let's say, what do you think, to be able like to simulate like the process up front. That's something that we did today, by the way. This
Oh,
morning.
this idea
uh,
of the digital twin. Well, the other
well,
thing
yeah,
too
yeah.
is the safety. People want to understand how is this going to fit into our workflow, and are we going to be able to move around it? We got forklifts, or we have you
Yes.
know
Th- this
palletizers. Yeah.
this particular application that we are developing. So we came in with the simulation, 3D simulation. We ran it, and then we show them the safety aspect, the working area, the area where the robot is gonna be blocked to go. There are like some plugins that you can add, and they have different names depending on the brand you use. But it's like basically virtual walls. Let's put that way. So you can put virtual walls, especially if you have like machine close by. So an issue that you could encounter is like someone grab like an operator grab the tish pendant and start jogging, and then it's gonna crash the robot to a
Oh,
machine
right.
that is close by, right? So sometimes like customer wants like, hey, I need to keep a small compact real estate, and then you start adding like this features, let's say, to where you're gonna prevent like the crashes, like and then you're gonna at the same time. So that's what we are thinking. This is like how we will look like. And we agree upon. So it's a super great tool. Then the next level would be like a digital twin that you can like build a simulation in your code to test something, or now with the graphic aspect, like you can project with the VR at the plant actually what that this system would look like. And I've tested some stuff. I've never done it, like proposing to a customer to with the VR, but I've used like a couple of times on some demo.
I mean, it makes sense because any change that you're making, you have to put it into some kind of a neutral setting so people can see it, operate it, test it.
Yes,
In computer, you might call it it's the sandbox. You can't break anything. It's its
exactly.
own. Yeah. So I think it makes
Yes.
perfect sense, and I love that. Um, yeah, there's just so much coming in this space. I'm just curious. So you have seen these humanoid robots, right? The Optimus Prime.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
seen
I've
those.
seen
Okay.
the Neura. I've seen a bunch of them. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Boston Dynamics. Yeah.
Yep, yep. They've got theirs. Um, I think that's the people we're probably most familiar with those, the Boston, and then
Yes.
with what comes out of Tesla. I'm just
Yes.
curious, on a personal note, would you be an early adopter if there was this humanoid that said, "Hey, I'm going to cook, I'm going to cut your grass, David, and I'm going to, I don't know, whatever." Would you, I mean, as a robot guy now, come on.
Hmm.
This is your chance.
Yeah, but
This is your
I'm
chance.
it's my chance. But like when you go to that side, it's kind of it's cool, but at the same time, like it's kind of scary to like to have this guys walking around. It's if you feel different than seeing like a regular like arm robot that we every day we use it basically.
Yeah, a
um
robotic arm,
yeah.
that you can collaborate and work with. Right.
Yeah, this
Very
like
different.
very different, right? So it's a different impact, and yeah, I mean, I can play with it and see,
I
there's
wonder, honestly,
definitely
I wonder what this is going to, I, I'm just thinking through this. You think about the adoption rates that products have gone through.
right,
Uh, you know, Basically, cell phones have pretty much full adoption unless you're in a third world country and they just, of course, it's just, they don't need it, or maybe they do need it, but they can't afford it. But for the most part, we have full adoption.
right,
You look at how long it took laptops to replace desktops, and now you look at the speed in which AI has been adopted by people very, very quickly.
right.
I'm I think you're it's a very normal reaction with the humanoid robots. It's like, it's kind of cool, but I don't think I want one in my house. Um,
Probably not.
I don't know. I wonder what kind of trouble, what that adoption curve is going to look like. Long, slow. Eventually, though, it's
That
going to be
it,
kind of weird. Don't you think it'd be kind
yes.
of weird, David? We're going to the grocery store and you've got your robotic assistant and I've got mine.
Uh-huh. The
That's kind of
problem
weird.
is it's okay, like the grocery store. The problem is like when you put the guns in their hands, what's gonna happen? Like
Man,
using
you're
them.
going Skynet. You're going Skynet on
Uh,
this.
I have to,
Everyone is
that
thinking this.
throwing, in the warehouse, like or picking up groceries, cutting the grass. Yeah, go for it, right? But then using them for a military purpose or police,
Oh, that is
um,
scary.
that is like where I'm going, right? So using
Yeah.
for manufacturing, of course, go for it. Like we have this shortage. Like even people who don't like it or not. I think it's gonna be inevitable. But now using them, like imagine like having like a war between two countries and throwing like drones and these guys,
Well, I mean, just imagine. Yeah, I would just imagine. Wow. I mean,
and
we've
and
taken
then
a turn here, but
yes,
yeah,
but
let your mind just let your mind wander. I mean, it is kind of wild. I wasn't really thinking about the weaponry, but hey, you're
yeah,
in
that's what
Texas. You're in Texas. Y'all have
I know
shotguns, rifles. They're
we
probably
do.
just, you can just pick them up in Toys R Us. I mean, they're just sitting around in there.
Yeah, imagine like if the facial recognition, it's just he's got some glitch, and then he thinks that you are, a criminal, because you look the same, and then boom. Think about that for a
Well,
moment,
and then
right?
it's like,
You know,
who is liable? You know,
nah. Well, the
right?
AI, it's up there, it's growing and it's learning, What's gonna
Yeah,
happen,
yeah, it
guys?
is. It is.
That's the scary
Maybe
portion
maybe we just need to keep them in our
with no
plants.
guns. Yeah,
No guns. Keep them in our
no
plants.
guns.
Keep them in our warehouses, and people can, they can work with you to upgrade their entire site and just make a ton of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Higher
But going,
productivity, higher
yeah.
volumes, right?
Yeah, but on the other side of the equation, like you mentioned, like at the beginning, like they're gonna be like at $20,000, like per piece, right? And I'm questioning, like if we when we use like this, industrial robots, of course they have like gearboxes, like very expensive, like and sophisticated. Then we go with this humanoid. Usually, they use cheap parts, on a manufacturing, like using them day by day. Like maybe you use them
Good
twenty four
point.
seven. How long they're gonna last? That's the more manufacturing work related question that I have. How
David,
long
you
they're
bring
gonna
another
last?
robot in. It's simple. You have one robot, and then you have the other robot that does the repair.
Yes, you saw that one that changed these batteries by itself.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, but I saw where they backed up into the wall and
Yeah,
just
they
like,
backed up to the wall, pull it out, and then put the new one in.
yeah, that's
But
it. So you just need a fleet of robots.
yeah,
One that
you need
does
a
the
fleet of
repair, one
robot.
that,
Take out the
yeah,
elbows, put a new one. there's still
Yeah.
maintenance,
That
everywhere.
honestly, that is it. I mean, how I can't even keep my dishwasher running. I mean, these things um, are gonna they're gonna break. They're
They're
gonna
gonna break.
break. It's a whole nother industry. This is really you need to get into robotic repair. I mean, this is really the future.
That's
Don't go to
that's where,
school. Go
uh-huh.
to trade school and learn how to repair robots. I mean, I'm not
And
joking. This is the
that's
future.
where like you have to, what I was saying at the beginning. Now you are an operator. You are like a, let's say, a robot technician. What would be a position? You need to learn that, like how to change the gearbox, how to grease the robots, right? How to, replace but mechanical tear down. That's where, if you know that stuff, and then now with the humanoids, they have other, things to replace. AMRs, you name it. Like, that's what you need to learn. Like if you stay like just a regular operator, like you are at risk,
You're
big
definitely
risk.
at risk. You're definitely
You
at risk.
stayed, you say, okay, there is this OEM. He offer me like these classes. I better gonna take this class. Mechanical
You
tear
better
down.
take it. You better take
Replace the
it. I mean, they're going to
gearbox.
need it.
Basic maintenance, and you name it. All is out there for years right now. Like there is no excuses. YouTube, you go there. There are videos to tear down like engines. There are videos to how to jog the robots. How to
Yeah,
make a
instead of
backup.
in high school they used to have home ec. You used to
Hmm.
learn how to cook and bake. They had shop
Okay.
class. They need to have, robotic servo, how to swap out a servo, how to swap out a gearbox, how to
Right.
lube the chassis. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, greasing, the joints and all of that, like all the maintenance that goes, into the robots, and then plus, learn how to operate, like the basic operation, like which again, it's nothing crazy, literally everyone can learn, because we had like, customer where we teach the operators that they were like painters or fabricators, on how to use the teach pen, and now they go like if it was like, like driving a car. They do the touch ups, and so that's where, like I don't think it's gonna take too long. It takes a commitment, like to say, hey, that's what's going on. I'm really, like I have to learn this, and then
You need to look, it comes down to don't be lazy. You need to invest in your future. I mean, it's really that
yes,
simple. If you're in
yes,
this space, understand you better start, you know, and hopefully we're going to see a new wave of entrepreneurs out there that are facilitating and investing in these types of trade schools. Mark my words, inside of 5 years, you're going to see someone franchise some kind of a in-home robotics repair, training, maintenance facility. It's coming, guys. It's
oh yeah,
right around the corner. This is right
yeah.
around the corner. Um, well, David, I know you're a busy guy. I know we had to kind of move our dates around a few times with
Yeah.
everything that's been happening. I'm so glad you had some time to come down and kind of share with us what you're seeing in the world of manufacturing when it comes to robotics, and the automation that is now available. What's the best way for people to connect with you if they want to start looking at actually doing something?
Well, yeah, I mean, LinkedIn is a great place to find me. Just reach out to me right there, or of course, our website. But LinkedIn, I would say, like is the best place. We post a lot of things right there, of the work we're doing, or stuff that I'm thinking. So very active right there. There is a great community. And then actually in December 9th and 10th here in the DFW, we are putting together like what we call Automation Stars of Texas, which is like a trade show. that we organize. We started last year, and then we call like all our partners, and then to stay together for a couple of days, and then show what we are talking about, what we are just talk about, today, right? So show what we can do, solution locally here in Texas for like Southwest, Southern, like end user
That's
and
great.
manufacturer. Yeah,
That's great. You
it's
have to send me some more information on that, and I'll make sure I link that
sure.
down in the
Yeah,
show notes. We appreciate you being here, and I'd love to hear in the comments if you would be an early adopter, would you bring one of those robots into your own house? I want to know. I'd like to think I would. I mean, there's so many little things. Yeah, I know. Let's not talk about the gun problem again, but
no,
all the
okay.
work that it could lift off of me could be amazing.
Could be
Could
amazing.
be. Could be. David, it's good seeing you again, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me today. It's
Oh,
really a
you are
pleasure
welcome. You are
and great
welcome. It's
talk with
good to
you.
talk to you again. I look forward to another installation with you in the coming months.
Yes,
All right, everybody.
let's do it.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. See you later.